Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I actually want to do a little bit more work on my flower here. So I want to sort of plan out a few of my threads. I did a little bit of stitching on a leaf and I just want to show you how I've kept record of what colour goes where, because I find that when some of these prints are quite complex in the number of colours that the printers have used to create the image, the threads that I choose, sometimes I can get a little bit muddled up. So I come up with a way of making sure I know what I'm doing by putting a little bit of the thread that I'm using through the area, excuse me, through the area where that colour appears on a leaf, for example. So there's 3 greens that I've selected for the leaf, and if you can see there, I've stitched in the 3. Now the one on the outside and the vein, so that in turn is everywhere this pink and red appear. It's a really unusual leaf because there's this pink and red within the leaf. And I sat there and contemplated, do I do a pink and red within the leaf? But there's so much pink everywhere else, I thought it might get a little bit muddy. It works on this fabric, but I don't know if it'll work on my embroidery because my colours aren't identical to these colours. So I thought, oh, I better be a little bit careful. So I'm playing it safe, and I chose to use, just so that it is different, this particular crochet cotton. It is Colour Fast 12-823, made in Romania. So it's beautiful colour, and it's going to be where all my pink and red is. So at least there's a distinctive difference. I think that's what the designer's trying to achieve here, is by throwing in these tones on a leaf is not logical, but it sort of blends the whole piece. It's such a pretty piece. The darker areas of the leaf, gee, there's probably 3 colours there in itself, but I chose this yarn here. Now, I'm not sure what it is because I picked it up in New Zealand at one of those Busy Bee quilts, I think it's called. Excuse me. So it was like 3 or 4 of these skeins lying in a discount basket for $3. And I thought, oh, green, you can never go past green. They had a few there, but I only took the 3. So I thought that's enough to keep me going. I wish I had grabbed more, but that's plenty. Can't be greedy. The green, oh, goodness me. Oh, I tell you, I've woken up this morning slightly congested. I don't know what's going on. A bit of a change of seasons happening here at the moment. Autumn starting to come in, but not quite. But my husband did mow yesterday, so I'm wondering if it stirred up a lot of the garden smells and things. So I've got a little bit congested overnight. So I do apologise for any weird sounds. Now the other thread that I'm using is this one. I cannot recall where I got it from, but I love it because it breaks down into finer threads. Like just in that one piece is 3. So it's a slightly paler green. So that's the combination of greens that I'm doing. All of the red bits will be in this, the pale bits and the medium-sized bits. And so far, it's coming up nicely. And of course, to make sure I remember all that and keep it straight, I've just attached a little bit. You see those little threads there? A little bit to the image. So, especially if you put down your piece for a week and then come back and pick it up, just a really good way of having nearly a colour chart, I guess. Now, the other thing I want to do, because I thought I'd better stop because I'm getting ahead of myself, I did the flowers. They're all finished. And it was quite late at night and I still felt like mucking around with it, where I should have probably gone to bed. But anyway, I started working out the colours here and stitching. So I thought in the morning I will turn on the video, show you what I've been up to, and start planning some of the other things. Because this weekend, so I'm filming this Friday morning. So the date for me, look at my book. Oh, I love this book. I was looking at it last night, Quilter's Companion, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to start showing you some of the pages because they're just beautiful. So whenever I sort of turn into a new week in filming, I'm going to grab this and just show you the pages, and we can have a look at who maybe this designer is, because there's things in here that are designers that we often talk about. Natalie Bird. There you go. There's one that I've reviewed her books. Just gorgeous. Look, I'm getting sidetracked. We'll just have a quick flip through, hey? Let's get sidetracked. What the hang? I'm just going to go back. We'll go back in there, in the diary, just to catch you up. Oh, look at that. I've never really done quilting like this. I've always embroidered something within the quilt, so I'd leave spaces to do some stitchery. So I've never really gone into the technical detail of doing this. I sort of find, I think I'd lose interest a little bit. Maybe if I was in a group, we were all doing the one thing, yeah, I'd be no problems because they'd keep me focused. But just at home, I think I'd probably put it in the cupboard. But being that there's embroidery in amongst it, puts another layer of activity into the project. And I think that's what would keep me a little bit busy. Oh, this would have to be an Australian lady. Rebecca Hastings. Oh, look at all the English paper piecing. Oh, she's gorgeous. I haven't had one of these little diaries for years. I used to get them when I was a lot younger because I just found them like visual eye candy. They're just beautiful. So I'm so pleased I saw this pop up somewhere. I think one of the craft stores I follow announced at the beginning of the year. Look at that ginger jar. Just gorgeous. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to do it. What the hang? Because I had been printing out just a page with all the dates and then writing where my video placements were going to be. And I thought this is just a lovely way of doing it. Plus there's this, you know, eye candy as we roll through. I so want to make a rice bag. That's another project on my list. It just never ends, does it? We just don't have enough time. Oh, it's just beautiful. I wonder if those cushions have been quilted by her as well. It's beautiful. Marilyn Bell. Oh, so many talented. What's that in there? For your online fix of quilting inspiration and the latest patterns, visit www.cozyproject.com, Australia's largest marketplace for craft patterns, brought to you by the team of Quilter's Companion. Well, isn't that a news flash? I better put those details in the description. I didn't even notice that. Oh, I tell you, you grab diaries and you rip into them and you start your year and away you go. Any more pretty pictures? Just that one there. 4 patches and stars. Well, I'm going to have to toddle over to that website. Where was it again? cozyproject.com. I better write that down because we need to further investigate. Have I got any paper to scribble on? I've got scribbles everywhere of things. Oh boy, I need a notebook. Cozy Project. I shall pop that.com. I'll pop that in my phone case. So when I'm sitting somewhere thinking, what will I investigate further? I have that little note in there. Isn't that just interesting? All right, guys, that's where we're at with the pictures. Now, as I flip, and that's leading into Easter. So there's our last one. We'll continue on from there. So this one is Flower Power by Chris Jerd. Beautiful. All right. Now, what was I talking about? I know we're going to pick some colours if I ever get there, because I get sidetracked so easily. So it's Friday morning. Now, the date for me, because we're coming up to Easter, the date for me is the 31st of March. So you will be seeing the last of my cruise videos. There'll be a Henrik in there you would have caught up on. Henrik's coming along nicely. And then Percy the Peacock. There's 5 videos in that series. So I'm just not sure if I'll put them one after the other. So you will know all this by the time you watch this video, I believe. So I think on the 3rd of April is number 3. I'm thinking about putting Percy part 4 and part 5 consecutively. And then by Wednesday the 5th, Percy's done. That project's finished. Then the Thursday you will see Susanna's next prompt, cut work. Oh gosh, was that a circus? That was something very new for me, and I was so worried about it and so nervous, and I put it off filming, I put it off, and then I just boots and all in, and I had a ball. You wait till you see it. You'll have to, well, you probably have seen it already, for goodness sakes. I'll, I might even, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Susanna's video on the Saturday, and you will be watching this on the Thursday. So at least that will make a bit of sense. So you would have finished the Percy. He's done. You'll be watching me on the Thursday. Good Friday, no video, a day of rest, time to spend some time with some family and friends. Saturday, we will do Susanna's cut work. So you can have maybe a project for the Easter weekend. That'd be lovely. And then, because it's a nice, simple little project. And if you haven't got Susanna's kit or patterns, well, they're really cheap. Go whip over to her website and grab it, because they're inexpensive. Like, I think they're $1.50 or something. Grab the tulips and just have a go, because it's something we've probably never really tried. We have doilies and laces that have cut work in them all the time. What do I mean by cut work? What do I mean by cut work? Let me see if I can quickly grab. See, we're going down another rabbit hole now, for goodness sakes. Let me just see. This is cut work. Is it cut work? Not really. Yeah, it is. It is. This is cut work. So, okay, what I'll do is I'm going to move the Susanna cut work vintage stitching, vintage sewing techniques that I had scheduled for Thursday. You're watching this now. And I'm going to flip it to Saturday, Easter Saturday. That'll give you time to go over to her website, grab her pattern. I'm sure it's only like $1.50 or something, and you get the whole lot. Grab the tulips. You'll see what I mean when you get to her website. But it's a really simple little pattern that she's put together for us, and you can have a go at cut work. So just to give you a bit of a rundown, what you do is you embroider using a little stitch the shapes on the pattern, and then in certain spots you cut it out, so that, let's say this was your piece of fabric, you would have another colour popping through, and all of this here becomes like spidery net-like work. It's not as fine as this. Please don't think it's as difficult as this. I should give you a sneaky look, shouldn't I? Because I've finished it. And the 2 videos that I made for it way back are done. I'm going to give you a sneaky look. Let's be naughty. Susanna, please forgive me. You'll be watching. Oh no, Susanna would have probably announced the prompt on the Tuesday. So Susanna's done her video, and then I follow in later in the week. So let me go to my project. I can't show you too much because there's a few coming up. Now, that's the example that I had in my stash that I've added to my book. So this is someone else's work. It's just gorgeous. So simple little project, be great for Easter. Now the piece that I'm doing, now you're going to see sort of my extension on the pattern. Susanna Susanna's already seen a photo of it. She's like, oh my goodness, girl, you're a lunatic. So the pattern is that. So it's 2 tulips in a little rectangle. But you know me, I got into it. It was just so much fun that I started adding more tulips and more leaves. So don't think that it's as daunting as this. It's really just that pattern there. So there you go. There's a bit of a sneaky look at a project video series starting on the 8th, Easter Saturday. So I need to make that adjustment because at the moment I think I've got it on Thursday. I'll move that video forward to the Saturday, and that'll give you a lovely little project to have a go at over the Easter weekend. It's a lot of fun. Don't feel daunted. It's hard for me to say that because I did. I definitely was like, oh my goodness, look at this cut work. How the hell am I going to do that? And because I had to film ahead of time, I didn't really get to see Susanna's tuition on it. You will, which is fantastic. So I just Googled cut work and I actually found a Japanese artist that does it. And I couldn't even understand the language because it wasn't in English. So I just watched what he did and that was enough. I was like, wow, I can do that. It's pretty much a blanket stitch. You know, I'm not a blanket. Yeah, well, it is. It's pretty much blanket stitch and it's really close together like a buttonhole stitch. And that sort of reinforces the edge of the design. And then the best bit is you get to cut away all the fabric that you want out of it. Anyway, look, we've got on a tangent. I mustn't forget to adjust the videos so that what I'm saying matches. I'm going to stop rambling because, yeah, I really want to get into this. So the plan with this is, as I said, it's Friday for me, the weekend prior. I'm heading to Hervey Bay to pick up Pepper. She has been staying with some friends up there and I'm super, super excited to be able to get up there, pick up my baby girl and bring her back to me. I've already got Bandit. He came back earlier in the week, pretty much the day we got off the boat. Bandit arrived, so that was lovely. He's back in the fold. I just need my Pepper girl now. So that's what I'm up to, and I thought I'll start filming this, choose my threads, then I can pack those threads with me, and as I'm driving up, I can do some embroidery. So I have a feeling those leaves will happen pretty quick. It didn't take long to do that. So I've got my green threads to one side to go with me. I need a little container to put them in. So I might just do that as well, because as soon as I finish filming this video, my husband will appear and it'll be time to go. I did want to get up nice and early and do it, but I haven't. I'm leaving it to the last minute. I had a little sleep in. So the greens are in. Now, this flower, I think that might be a really good pink. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. So what I might do is just take a little snip of it and thread it up and just work it in. I think I want it to be this light pink. I think, yeah, let's... I'm thinking too that I'll use crochet cottons with this gloss so that the rose really stands out, and let the leaves and all that be the wools and crochet cotton combination. So I've got another pink here, which could be that darker pink. Is that enough of a transition between the two? Yeah, I think so. So let's just put a little morsel of that colour. It's like doing a planogram of your colours, especially if you want to plan ahead a few things. Okay, I had the needle in my lips there for a minute, which is a bad habit. That's why I couldn't talk. And suddenly went quiet, which you would all be thinking, that's very odd for Corrine to be quiet. That's what my school teacher used to say. She was sending my report cards when I was a kid. Corrine needs to focus, stop yibber-yabbering, stop chatting. She's a lovely girl, they did say, so that was good. But she was lacking focus. I bet you're all giggling going, Especially if any of you out there are school teachers or retired school teachers. I bet you're thinking of a heap of kids that were just like me. I wasn't disruptive to the class. Well, that's my story. But I was definitely, I was chatty. What will I do next? I've sort of got two colours here. I've got a darker one and a really pale one. Would I be able to use that as the pale one? Is it too similar to that? It's not bad. It might be too similar. It's, yeah. I think I might use classic cream, actually, just so that the eye sees that reflection of light. That one there would be pretty good. Yeah, I'll put a cream into the basket. It's a good way of seeing what colour this rose is going to be. Now we have some darker tones down in there. Do we be really bold and put some red? I sort of feel like it might be a bit much, but maybe not. Let's have a look in the box over here. Because I've got that as well, which we've used elsewhere. It's more of a burgundy. I might pop it in just... No, I don't need to pack everything, Corrine, for goodness sakes. Or do I go... Do I go that? Oh, I like that. I think I might go that. Maybe I pop this in as well in case I want to go deeper into the throat with a little bit of that red, then come out with that purpley tone, then into that, that, and that. I think that's what I'll pack. All right. I like that. Now, the other leaf is this guy. He pops up around the place. It is a real bright olivey, citron-y, well, that's not even a word. Maybe this one. Ooh, that one. Oh, yeah. That's a definite no. I think that, yeah. Then it just needs a little highlight or something, which could variegate. Yep, that's the one. So those will be, I should be able to remember that. I don't think I need to divide those colours up. And I think the pink, I'll be able to work out where I'm heading. They were the main two, where I was going to place them. So, yeah, I think that'll be fine. So we've worked out those leaves. We're right for the big green ones. The other thing is this up here. Let me pop my needle in. So it's there. These up here, what will we do? Do we stay in the tones or do we play with something completely different? I'm just grabbing back out this feel like I need something lighter up there. And this is such a pretty, it's vintage. It's such a pretty crochet cotton. Be nice to use a little bit of that. So let's have a play with those little flowers. I'll zoom right in so you can see what the designer has created. See how they got like little strokes of colour? Oh, the other thing I want to pack too is the brown, because I've really got to do over here all of this path, and that cream cotton that I've already packed is the little flowers. So that's just mimicking what I did down at the base of this panel with the garden arch. They're the stepping stones. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? Can you guys see? Yep. So there's a centered dot, and there's a little bit of colour. Then these little strokes. Let's have a play. What have we got to lose? I think I'll do the strokes. Like so, radiating out. I might need to do a few colours. Let's get a few stitched in. I probably should be doing a darker colour first and then the lighter colour on top. Or do we stay the one colour? I don't know. Oh, this is an old thread, so it's got a little bit of friction happening here. Be lovely to use it, but they're quite random little flowers. And they're not a normal sort of flower shape. So they're sort of a bit squished, oblongy looking. It's going through the ugly stage, as they say. But it will come together, especially when you start popping some more colour tones in. Let's get around the perimeter of this little flower. Don't be unafraid. Don't be afraid to unpick things. If you're just not happy with the colour tone or there's something quite not right, unpick it, because it'll bug you. Every time you look at your piece, you will only see that. No one else will. It's always the way, but you will. So for your own sanity, okay. Nearly finished this little guy. I think that's what this piece needed too, just a pop of brighter, lighter tones for this little flower. So I'm not going to bring in another colour. I've made a decision. I'm just going to use this one. I'm going to follow the flow of the little images just to get the feel of what the designer was doing, because it's sort of like the flowers looking at you this way, then there's a tilt, another tilt, so you're sort of getting different views of it. Oh, sorry about that, guys. That's the alarm to wake my husband. so that we get on the road. So it's 5 to 7. So where's this? We've been going 30 minutes, so I'll have to go a few more minutes. Then I'm going to stop the video and come back with some of this work actually completed. And I can show you what I've been up to. So in the one video, you will see all of this flower stitched, and hopefully that path over there, because I really, really want to just get this section done, and then I can move on to the little house. We will know the prompt by the time you're watching this video. We will have our next prompt, which will be great. So you'll probably notice I took this binding off the side that I had pinned there. So I've got that sitting to one side. I've unpicked it because it was all stitched together. It was the binding off of a quilt that I had made years ago, a red work quilt. Oh, that one's out of place. Yeah, it was a binding off of a quilt, so that scrap was stitched together. So I've unpicked them, so now I've got these little morsels. So they're ready to stitch into place. I don't know how much stitching I'll get done this weekend. Maybe I should pop those in the little container too. This, using thread to paint in floral images, it is pretty heavy work on your fingers because you've got layers happening. So that might slow me a little bit. My thumb is a little sore. It's not from needle pricks or anything. It's just pushing the fibers through all these layers of fabric. You just get a bit of a bruise. So that's why I thought I might pack in this work here, because that's pretty simple. This is heavy stitching. Yeah, I like that. So that will work a treat. Okay, I don't have my scissors handy. Yes, I do. Must put in a little pair of scissors. Pop them in the case, ready for my road trip. And I might put in, I'm going to try using this new, and I'm thinking, oh, as I said on the video, it was a little bit too loose on my finger. And one of the girls suggested stitching it, and I'd actually had that thought too. I just didn't say it in the video, but I was looking at the stitching on here, and I thought, well, that's easy enough just to put some stitches in to trim it down to size. But last night I was thinking about my poor sore thumb, and it might actually give me a bit of benefit as on my thumb, and I get a second one that's a medium for that finger there. But I haven't had a play with it yet, so I'm going to pop it in. Put in a silicone one just in case. I'm a bit of a fan of them because not only do they grip, they're lightweight. So they sort of become part of my fingers. This feels very bulky. So, yeah, we'll see. I may not get on with that leather one. But, yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I got some scissors then. I think those little flowers are going to be really pretty. I should stop the video and go and tap my husband on his shoulder and say, hey, wake up, time to get out of bed. Have a shower and get on the road. Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing my Pepper girl. Oh, I've been getting photos every day of what Pepper's up to. And, oh, don't you miss your fur babies? She's having a whale of a time. Like, I don't think she's worried about me at all. But I suspect she'll be pretty excited when I walk down the hallway. Can't wait to get those cuddles. She's a very cuddly dog. Bandit is too, don't get me wrong. But he's 1. So his brain is still racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. He's a big puppy. So to get a really quiet cuddle with him doesn't really happen yet because he's so big. He just, oh, he's all over you and he's in your face and he's climbing on you and he's like, jumps off of you to go and grab a toy and brings it over to say, well, can we play with this? You know, he's just a lunatic. He's young. Where Pepper's 2, and at about 18 months, suddenly she became a lady. She became a cuddler. I just, oh, tell you, just gorgeous. If you could just get dogs at 2, I reckon, you get a developed brain. You know what I'm doing here? I'm too uniformed. Can you see it? What is it? You see how the first one is random? And then the next one was uniformed, and I've done it again. I don't like it. I want it to be more uneven. I know the pieces, the print underneath is fairly uniform, but just going to unpick a few. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Oh, why isn't it? See, I've ruined the thread now. Usually not this finicky. What's going on? I'm a lot more chilled than this. I don't like to overthink it too much because you lose the fun of it all if you worry about every stitch. You just got to just do it. Always comes together. I'll be able to get a few stitches out of this. I'm going to try and make it a little less even. That's a bit better. No. That thread is distorted way back there. This is a problem you can have when you use vintage cottons. If they're starting to break down, you've got to be a little bit more gentle with them. So sort of use them once and don't worry about unpicking too much because they just won't handle it. Having said that, this cotton may be a bit that way anyway. Who knows? It may have been a bit of a funny little cotton to use back in the day as well. Some of them are. It sort of feels very silky, as if it's got silk in it. So we're talking a very delicate cotton. I just looked at my stopwatch and there goes another 8 minutes. Goodness, I really need to stop, but I can't. This is why I missed choir. This is what happens. I just want to, you know, stitch that little extra bit. Okay, so I'm going to start down this side so that it's a little bit more random, I think. Get these little messy daisy flowers stitched. Not all of them. I'm just going to do this one and then I've gotta go. I'll end up being late. We want to try and get on the road and get out of Brisbane early because it's coming into school holidays. Well, they start today, so you can imagine there'll be 1 million+ people hop in their car and exit the city, and there's only 3 ways out of town that is a freeway. And you know what people are like. The average Joe will follow the basic route. It's only the adventurous ones that will find every other road to travel on to get out of town. So the majority of people will hop in their cars today to go to the Sunshine Coast or the Gold Coast. I do apologise to the residents in those areas. They're on their way. So sorry. And the traffic will be a Congo line. It will take hours to get out of Brisbane. School holidays are on. Easter Bunny is coming. I told everyone, don't buy me chocolate this Easter. I want threads. Don't care what colour. Go and pick your favourite colours. That's what I want. Maybe I'll just do one more flower. Oh, gosh, I'm going to be late. See, I've got thread on my needle. How can I stop? I need to finish this thread. I'll try and go fast. See, this is what happened with the choir. This is why I missed all those rehearsals. Hopeless. I was like this as a kid, you know, when you pull out a pattern and you sit down at the kitchen table and Mum's helping and she's like, oh, we should pack it up. It's time to start milking the cows, or we should pack up. The boys are coming in for afternoon tea. I used to get so wound up that I was being interrupted. I was in the zone. I just wanted to cut that last piece of pattern out, or, you know, and this was when I was a kid. So I'm not surprised that it's carried on. I know you're all the same. We get into a creative space and then the world slips by. Isn't that not a bad thing? Look, I'm getting a bit even. Come on, Corrine, keep that little, that's a tiny little stitch. Can you guys even see? Yep. So now that my Percy project is finished, he's like the side project to the main event, which is all of the Roxy projects that I've got going. Henrik and Percy. Henrik's still got a couple videos to go, but Percy's done. I need to come up with some new little side projects. So if anyone's got any suggestions, pop them in the comment box. Got a couple ideas that I'm thinking about. They'll all be in the fabric stitching side of things. I did consider making a journal, but I haven't yet nutted out the concept. I've got a bit of an idea there, but I don't know, my desk is covered in threads, fabrics and laces, and I'm just in amongst it. Paper craft got me back into my room, because I've been so busy with my career and my business that I was doing the odd project. But when I come across journal making and the digital prints and scrapbook papers and that just lit a fire in me again. And that got me back into this space. And then I've merged back into textiles, which is my passion. Threads and textiles, that's, as you probably already guessed, that's my passion. I've been sewing since I was a kitten. So it's so great to be back in amongst it. And I'm really enjoying the fact that Slow Stitch has evolved into this new form where we're using the old stuff and we're combining it and we're collaging together and we're using laces and textiles, and oh, I tell you, it's like it's finally come of age. It's taken the strictness and the technique, not the technique, that's a bad way of describing it. It's taken the strictness out of it. We've all had that family member who's shown us something and they've been quite diligent in the way they do it, and it nearly is a bit off-putting. It is off-putting. You sort of think, oh, I can't do that because, you know, great-great-grandma or great-great-auntie is, do I do chocolate? You know, it's strict. So I wish my grandmother was still here so that she could see where we are all now, and I know she'd love it because she had grown up with such a strict way of doing things, especially because she was an embroidery judge. She was a sewing judge at all the local shows. She was part of the show society and would do judging on fancy work. So I know she was at a point in her life where she was looking for something new all the time. You could just see. And whenever I'd turn up with a pattern or, you know, just look at what's happening in the world of needlework, her energy would just soar. And I just wish that she was here now and seeing where we're all going with our stitching and the collaging, and like this work here, that would just be right up her alley. She had a sewing room full of fabrics from all of the bridal dresses that she ever made. She would have been in there pulling them out. She would have had the memory of the bride or the bridesmaids and the family that she made the outfits for. And then she could have got these morsels and worked them into creative pieces. I just know she would have loved it. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent now. I'm getting emotional. I'm going to stop the video now. I'm going to hit the road with my threads. I'm going to go and get my hound, and I will be back in a few seconds for you to show you what I did. So let's have a look at the timer. Have we got enough time? Let's have a little look. 46 minutes. Beautiful. So 15 minutes to come back and show you what I achieved on my road trip. All right, guys, I will see you shortly. Bye for now. Hello, everyone. I'm back. So my flowers are finished. I didn't do much stitching while we were driving to go and get my pepper. I was too busy looking out the window. It would have been 12 hours of driving over 3 days. So imagine the work I could have got done, but I don't know, I just could not get focused. I think one morning I picked it up at our friend's place. Everyone was still in bed, so I did about an hour of stitching, but most of it I did in the last few days at home. So it's always the way, you card everything with, but you're too distracted to focus. So yeah, didn't get a lot of stitching done, but I'm finished and I love it. Very pleased with the way it came together. The leaves were really fun to do. I wasn't real happy with the leaves in this zone. There were 2 of them coming from 2 different directions in, and it just got a bit lost, a little bit muddy. So I didn't do those real well, and I ended up just stitching a couple little flowers here which were mimicking these at the top, just to break the eye up. No one will ever know. Really happy with the other leaves. So that was just a bit of disguising of the fact that it just looked like a blob of green. The other blessing that I really appreciated was the variegated thread. It just naturally changes its colour. Therefore, you get this natural light bouncing around the leaves. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see. See how they're just drifting through different tones? It really was good. The thread that is the stem and into the flower is a different thread again. But the leaves was a variegated, really pretty. Where the threads I used down here, I had to create the variegation. So it's a lot harder work to do. Still nice, but I must say I do prefer this. I guess what I'm trying to say too is when you're watching TV and you're, engrossed in something or you're chatting to people, by having a variegated thread in your hand, you don't have to think too hard. You just let it wash through your foliage. Where this, I've sort of had to, keep my wits about me and make sure it sort of come together properly. So really happy with my flower. It is completed. It's been sitting over there since probably the first few videos when we were piecing, everything down. So it's been fun to have these additional little tasks to do while we wait for our prompt. The next area to complete would be the house, the path, and I still can do some embellishing on the side boundary here, like I've done on the opposite side over here, where we pieced down all just those little pieces and did some variegated stitching through. So that's still yet to be done on this side. And I have left in space about, if we took a page out of a book, maybe an A4 page is left. So we still have a few months to go and a few prompts. Whether there's anything big enough to happen here, I think plan B, if nothing huge comes along for me, I'll probably do a tree, to be honest, and then I can play with some foliage. I could probably have a bird's nest. So I'm just going to see how the prompts go. Yeah, I'm just not ready to jump in there and fill that space yet, because there could be something coming that I hadn't even thought of. So I'm going to just fiddle around with some general stitching on the piece. I think the next thing I'll do is work on the little house. So when this video pops up again, it'll be all about these little houses, and well, maybe, depends on the prompt, doesn't it? So you're watching this video on Thursday. My finish of the French garden painted flowers in thread. Then Friday will be a day of rest for Good Friday. Saturday I have a video in there for you. That's the project that Susanna's running. So we're exploring cut work, and trust me, it's a lot of fun. So I think you'll enjoy that. And then Easter Sunday, I've got scheduled in a day of rest. By that time, I'll know the prompts, so I'll be busy stitching and catching up with a few friends. Then we get to Monday, and I think that's where your first video for the Roxy will pop up with the new prompts. And that then gives me a few days to sort of get in front of you again. So I wish you all a happy Easter for those of you who are celebrating Easter. For those of you who aren't, have a lovely weekend with your family and friends, and I hope you all get to pick up your needles and threads and have a little stitch. So looking forward to the next prompt, which will be Monday. Other than that, there'll be a Susanna Cutwork video in there for you to watch, and enjoy the chocolate that may come your way this weekend. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Bye for now.